there is an urgent need for sustainable solutions to environmental challenges that affect us, our ecosystems, and our future generations. Hello and welcome. I'm Sadhika Tiwari, and you're watching Eco India. In today's episode, let's explore the impact of individual efforts, community action, and grassroots movements in addressing some of the most pressing issues for our planet. Let's start with Mumbai, a bustling city of over 21 million people facing its unique set of challenges as it grows. Traffic, floods, pollution, shrinking spaces and decreasing natural resources. Imagine a Mumbai where clean air, no pollution, thriving rivers and green spaces become a part of daily life.
In 2050, we want our oxygen from trees, not from oxygen cylinders.
By 2050, I'd see all the trees, green trees, and a clean river.
I'm Shubh Mehta. I'm 23 years old and I've been born and brought up in Mumbai.
My name is Prachita Kishore Kohli. I've lived here my whole life and my age is 28.
When I think about 2050, I feel scared. I want to live in a world which is clean and healthy.
The early 2020s were a frightening time, and I'm just thrilled that we took the harder decisions.
Nobody imagined that the rivers, the water systems could be cleaned up. And yes, I'm speaking to you from 2050.
I go to get fish in the early morning at the dockyards. By 5 o'clock I go. Regularly
I regularly buy prawns, pomfret, surmai, ravas and lobster, all these seafood items in the market. 5 years ago, there were a lot more fish. Now we have very few fish. The number of women in fishing has not gone down because they hope that someday the fish will come back.
This is Dharavi Kolivada. So the whole city's garbage actually flows down the river and it gets stuck over here. Because of that, even we don't get to fish properly now. And we don't get much fishes. These are called agars. Like basically the only fishermen, the villagers, they only own this. And they do their own fishing over here. I hope 2050 is much better, much cleaner. And everybody just respects the nature.
30 years ago, we never imagined it would be possible. The first most important change which happened, which was at that time seemed almost impossible to achieve, was the recognition that villages like Kolivada, the fishing villages like Kolivada, are part and parcel of the modern image of Mumbai. The second realization is that we respect the flow of water at every level. Then our way of urban planning changed. The moment we began to see the Methi River as part of a larger system of water flows and connected to the natural cycles of the monsoon, the imaginary changed. We began to understand the need to separate sewage to create better systems where you could process sewage locally at one level. At the same time, it was important to develop new networks and new pipes. We began to create a new network of water supplies in very dense environment.
So most of Bombay's sewage actually got pumped out into the sea. And so Bombay in the early 2020s really needed investments in waste and investments to address air pollution as well. So Bombay made large investments in sewage treatment plants so that all of Bombay's sewage actually got treated. In fact, a lot of the sewage water was given to industries that otherwise used fresh water.
And today we can see in the Methi River, we have all kinds of fish which people enjoy as delicacies. It's also regenerated ecological systems of the mangroves.
My morning jog is along Malabar Hill and I touch Girgaon and I'm back home. Of course, there are some places that are pretty clean and well maintained, and there are some places that really need a lot of work. Beach cleanups is something that we started in July 2019. You clean in the morning and in the evening it'll be dirty again. But I think it is a very good way to mobilize people. When the people actually come down to the beach, wear the gloves, clear up the waste, they realize what the gravity of the situation is. In Mumbai 2050, I want a space where people are enjoying nature just by basking in its glory, and green spaces come up in a way that the air quality does not affect people and their health. When I think about 2050, as an individual, I feel helpless at times, and it makes me feel frustrated as well.
The idea is really about cleaning beaches not only for human recreation, but it is cleaning beaches because we create a healthy ecosystem. Unusual crabs and a squid, and now they are thriving, as you can see. It's also a place where people definitely come for clean air and for recreation.
Bombay made large investments in public transport, and that really cleaned up the air. Bus lanes were put in place and enforced, which meant buses moved faster. And the minute buses move faster and come on a regular schedule, more people are willing to take buses. The other big investment that Bombay made was investing in pedestrian infrastructure and also leave room for parks. Bombay cleaned up its landfills. So the area around Bombay's landfills was notorious because average life expectancy was 39 years in a part of the city that was right next to the landfill, which is frightening if you think about it. It's important to engage with policy. It's important to engage with the questions around us and to think beyond short-term fixes. I also think optimism and participation play a big role.
Have faith in the ability of human beings and natural systems to work together. If we start looking at nature and if we start looking at ecosystems as things which can contribute to even material well-being, just look for a better quality of life. Demand clean air, demand clean water, demand an imagination for the city which can accommodate the forest, which can accommodate the production of food and fishing as part of modern lifestyles.
A Sunday morning in 2050 is when I'm, taking my kids out for a stroll at Gateway of India, walking around, just observing the sea and just absorbing the vibes and the fresh air. I see a clean, bright, green space. Near in the water, I see dolphins and turtles swimming.
And I have a lot of fish. Okay, I have surmai, I have ravas, I have big bangras, I have big huge prawns, tiger prawns and pomfrets, and all over my plate. And I'm selling them. So I just want people to eat good fresh fish. That's it. I'll obviously feel so good. I'll feel healthy. And even for future generations, you can look wider. You can see that, yes, your generations are gonna live nicely, happily, healthy.
These stretches of green that you see in Delhi were all turned brown in the scorching heat last summer. This is a problem that many cities are facing. Their green cover is not ready for the rising temperatures, which the continued burning of fossil fuels is only making worse. Berlin, the capital city of Germany, is one of Europe's greenest cities. But here too, rising temperatures are a threat. Efforts are being made, but can Berliners actually save their city's green future?
This field maple tree is the final touch to Ute Bernhof's garden, which is full of little insect oases and retreats for birds here on the western edge of Berlin. The field maple was a present from the local authorities as part of its Urban Climate Trees campaign. We felt the garden could do with another tree to make it even greener, and liked the idea of an urban climate tree. It would have a new home here, so we decided to apply and would love to have one of those trees in our garden. The Urban Climate Trees campaign is now entering its third year. Over a 3-day period, its driver distributes over 70 specimens, a hard job and not just at the wheel. Applications were open to anyone who owns property here and was committed to looking after the tree, from private individuals to schools, sports clubs, and building management companies. The campaign was the brainchild of horticultural engineer Beate Rissmann. She was determined to get environmentally active, with temperatures in Berlin rising by 1 full degree Celsius over the last 150 years. Planting new trees is vital. Their biomass means that trees also improve our quality of life, especially in cities. They provide shade and have a cooling effect, and provide a habitat for birds and insects. So it's really important for us to have these places to prevent built-up areas from heating up. Berlin is one of the greenest capitals in the world. Cities are home to some 10 billion trees worldwide, a remarkable number given the relatively small amount of land that urban space takes up. From damage due to drought stress and vandalism to the construction of roads and apartment blocks, trees are regularly removed for many reasons. Our next stop is on the northern outskirts of Berlin, where volunteers from a tree planting association regularly attempt the impossible. For 10 years now, they've been planting trees in former leach fields. Mike Kratz is the forest warden here. He's a frequent visitor and happy to lend his expertise with issues like soil degradation. In the late 19th century, the area became a dumping ground for sewage generated across the north of Berlin and remained so for over 100 years.
There's still a certain amount of contamination from cadmium, lead, copper and zinc. If you walk through these old leach fields, you'll see completely bare areas with not even any grass growing. That's due to excessive sewage, although the most serious problem is water retention capacity.
So the trees and shrubs being planted here today need to be hardy. Goat willows, European white elms, and checker trees manage with relatively little water. Some of them are treated to a quick bath beforehand in a nutrient-rich algae solution. But that in itself would not be enough to ensure a healthy start for the saplings.
We monitor our trees for 3 years. Sometimes the grass grows really high in the summer, savanna style, putting the saplings in the shade and also competing for the same water. So we cut that down. The forester helps by bringing in huge tanks of water. We then set out into the woods in teams, which can look pretty funny, with us carrying watering cans in the forest. But it's really worth the effort.
Wherever you go in the world, cities boast an especially wide variety of trees. Berlin has almost 41 square meters of woodland per resident. In the Indian capital Delhi, the figure is under 9. Berliners want their home to stay green, which is why the Tree Planting Association is never short of volunteers.
I was really into it because back at home, back in India, we used to do it. We had a little community and we used to do it, tree planting every Independence Day, so every year. So I was really into it because of that. And when I came to Berlin 1.5 years ago, I was trying to find something like this.
It's such a nice thing to do for the nature as well. And once you do it, you also feel like something you have accomplished. So it's good.
The most sustainable type of tree maintenance is when people have a relationship to the tree. Back on the west side of the city, the Fuchs family are also getting their urban climate tree today. Shadbush trees are a good source of shade and food for insects. The family know exactly what's in store for them. It'll be a lot of work, especially in the summer. They need water every day then, but as we have to water everything else, that's fine. The urban climate trees aren't cheap, costing around €300. So the local authorities took a closer look at the data and also found that there are still more trees being felled in Spandau every year than planted. The field maple tree takes pride of place in Uta Bernhof's garden. It survived its tough first 3 years, so should now be out of the woods and can hopefully look forward to another 200 summers.
Let's now head to Kashmir, the crown of India, known for its breathtaking beauty. But it also faces many challenges. Decreasing horticulture and agriculture production is one. And it's the same story for wild mushrooms as well. This underscores a larger issue of how ecological shifts threaten our delicate ecosystems. And all of this directly impacts those whose incomes depend on this. Efforts are now being made to promote sustainable agricultural and farming practices and empower local communities.
Introducing the Gucci mushroom, likely the most valuable product of the forest floor here in Kashmir. Collectors proudly show off their finds on social media. The prized specimens are extremely rare and expensive. And with 500 grams selling for 18,000 rupees or €200, getting an early start certainly pays off. It's now off-season as temperatures drop. Botanist Rauf Hamza Boda has spent years documenting the 200-plus varieties of mushroom in Kashmir. He also ventures out into the woodlands in the colder part of the year to check on how the populations are faring. And in recent years, that's not so well.
Unfortunately, due to the deficit of rainfall and deforestation, a lot of mushrooms, their population density is decreasing day by day, and we find that there are hardly any mushrooms now, as it used to be 20 years, 10 years back.
Last November, for example, saw 65% less rainfall than usual. We are in the Daksum forests covering the Pir Panjal mountain range that stretches across Jammu and Kashmir, one of many areas where the symptoms of climate change have been evident for years, with protracted periods of heat coupled with heavier rainfall. Not as apparent are the extensive areas of mushrooms on the forest floor. Their networks of roots can extend several kilometers. And under the surface, they become intertwined with the delicate root ends of surrounding trees.
This is a symbiotic relationship, meaning that this relationship is important for both. For example, pine trees perform photosynthesis and provide sugar to this mushroom or some symbiotic mushroom. And in turn, these mushrooms provide phosphorus, nitrogen, and also give a lot of water by absorbing through its mycelium. This is a symbiotic relationship, and this is most important for the survival of whole forest. If there are no mushrooms, there will be no forests.
With the mushroom's habitat slowly shrinking, the authorities see a potential economic boost for the region from farming them. With a lot of women up here in the mountains traditionally spending most of the day at home, the idea is for them to earn their own money by growing mushrooms. 36-year-old Tahira Bashir started cultivating button mushrooms 5 years ago, with support from the regional agriculture department. I received training from them and started this business in 2019. We were awarded a subsidy for the cultivation unit and only had to pay 2,000 rupees in total. So I thought it's good business if I can earn 30,000 rupees after investing just 2,000. The work is physically demanding, but gives Tahira Bashir financial independence. She sells her produce together with her fellow farmers. After initial challenges and skepticism, they are now enjoying decent business.
Due to controlled conditions, mushrooms are now available year-round, even during the off-season. Previously, they were only available in June and July, but now they are cultivated throughout the year.
Unfortunately, the growing amount of mushroom cultivation elsewhere is of no help to the Guchis here in the forest. Botanist Rauf Hamza wants to see proper instructions for people who come collecting here.
They should keep some mushrooms intact. If there are 10 mushrooms, they are collecting it, keep at least 5 intact so that they spread the spores for the next years.
Tahira Bashir has been doing everything right. With growth of over 10% a year, Button mushrooms are a flourishing business in India and an empowering one for women like her.
What if a single plant species could change the future of sustainability? Let's head to Tamil Nadu, the home of 50% of India's total palm trees. These trees have also been recognized as the state's official trees, highlighting their cultural and ecological importance. Turns out they can also contribute immensely to sustainable livelihoods. Let's go meet a man who has made it his life's mission to ensure that these valuable resources do not fade into history.
For centuries, people in Tamil Nadu have been climbing up the majestic palmyra trees, towering up to 30 meters high. While the flower spike sap is harvested for its sugar or jaggery, the leaves can be turned into bags and hats, like those spotted by Godson Samuel. But what's often missing is sufficient knowledge about the tree, as the pastor regularly notices in his talks at schools. He's a long-time campaigner for palm trees. Have you ever tasted palm fruit? 1, 2, raise your hands. Let me ask you, how many of you have not tasted palm fruit? And why not? Godson Samuel's passion for palm trees dates back 30 years. He's from the Kanyakumari district in the extreme south of Tamil Nadu. People here know that palmyras are sturdy enough to withstand cyclones and that their roots are deep enough to access water even during those seemingly unending drought periods. More reasons why Godson Samuel appreciates the trees. In my book, I wrote that the palm trees should not be cut down, and that if you do cut one down, you need to get special permission. I also mentioned that palm jaggery should be provided in ration shops. These two things have been officially declared by the government. But Godson Samuel wants to see further action, and for people to understand the importance of preserving the trees as a precious commodity, which is why he invests time in talking to villagers. I have conducted a palm leaves portrait exhibition. We make handicrafts and designs made of palm leaves. This is my own idea. The travelling exhibition has taken him to the state capital Chennai, but also to Bangalore and Kolkata, and even abroad to Sri Lanka and Cambodia. And there's a far bigger dimension to the importance of his efforts. I've known Father Godson Samuel for over 4 years now. We used to discuss how to replace plastic with palm products in an innovative way that can be easily accepted by people. And as a result, the table that we use now in our church, together with our money box and even our donation collecting bowl, are made of palm leaves. And our palm workshop has helped to create job opportunities and livelihoods for many people. Among those who've taken that opportunity is Grace Juliet Diana. The toys she sells are supplied by a wide range of craftspeople, all of them substituting items that would normally be made in factories and from plastic. But do palm leaves actually have the makings of replacing plastics? Godson Samuel takes a realistic approach. Palm products are of high quality and the durability depends on the manufacturer and the use. But in the case of plastics, we are all aware of the massive destructive impact it has. Palm products are not a direct alternative, but if we use more palm products in our daily life, it would probably reduce demand for plastics. Godson Samuel still has a long road ahead of him. He dreams of greater recognition for the palmyra, also through a college teaching people about the tree. With the palmyra having benefited the region and its inhabitants for so long, he says it's time to give something back.
That's all for today's episode. As we continue to confront the challenges of climate change, every step counts. Do you know of any such efforts? Do let us know. You can email us or reach out to me directly on my social media handles. Thank you for joining us. I will see you next week with more such reports. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Namaskar.